Hi, and welcome to Kaleidascope. If you're tempted today to change the channel, I would urge you not to do that, most especially if you are a veteran or the relative of a veteran, because we're going to be doing a show on the benefits that are very sadly being stripped away from the veterans at this point in time. I have with me a couple of people who have kept up on the issues, and they'll be filling you in on the issues. But I wanted to read something that someone gave me, and I think that this kind of just sums up the whole reason that I'm here. I think it's very sad when we go to our Veterans Day parades that we just kind of are looking for the hot dog and soda. And I don't think that our little kids even know what Veterans Day is all about. And this kind of sums it up. It says, ask almost any person the first thing that comes to mind when you say Veterans or Memorial Day. You'll probably hear something like no school, no work, 3-day weekend, or shopping at the sales. It would be rare to hear somebody answer something such as honor, or remember, or freedom, or sacrifice. Simply put, our war veterans have been regulated to an oh yeah, them status. And that's a shame, and it's also the problem. War is fought by people, men and women thrust into unspeakable horror. War is not pretty, it is ugly, and it is unpopular. As individuals, we make no choices in going to war. We go to war as a country. And as a country, it is every person's obligation to support and honor the people who do go to war. But we don't. Sure, every newspaper runs an editorial about what we should do, and we give it a glance, and then we run off to the mall. Perhaps this has something to do with how war is portrayed this day. Our last conflict in the Gulf War was fought by men and women, but you would think it was a giant video game. Vietnam was swept under the rug in shame. Korea is still called a conflict. These wars are forgotten, and the people who fought in them are as forgotten as well, pushed aside for a good deal on a new bedspread or a pair of Nike sneakers. Our veterans are holed up in substandard hospitals and trapped in a sea of red tape that would make the IRS look like a model of efficiency. The sad part is that people are somewhere aware of this, somewhat aware of this. They just choose to ignore it. When election time comes around, we hear a whole lot about taxes and crime and very little about the men and women who fought for their country. We forget that without their sacrifice, we wouldn't even be able to have elections. We have changed from a nation of hard work and sacrifice to a nation of, yeah, but where's mine? Given a choice, we would rather see a 1% tax reduction instead of better care for the people that fought because our country asked them to. What people forget is that we are a country. When we go to war, whether we agree with it or not, we all go to war. If that attitude is lost, and believe me, we are losing it, it's only a matter of time before we fall. The old corny phrase about united we stand, divided we fall still rings true today. I'm here today not to change the world. I'm here to ask every person who hears my voice to just give a damn when he hears the word veteran. Quite a writing. I'm going to introduce to you my guests here today, and I'm just going to ask you to just tell people what a veteran is, because I honestly don't think that a lot of people know. I think that there are kids in school who haven't the foggiest notion what a veteran is. I have Sue Dawson. We work together, and I always get her name wrong, and she is the president of the Vietnam Vets Association of America, Orange County Chapter 140. And Joe Genacora, who is a veteran who served in Vietnam. Whichever one of you would like to define what a veteran is.
Well, there is no one definition for a veteran except that we all were willing to take time out of our lives, put our lives down, and join a branch of the service and do whatever we were asked to do by our country. Some were asked to go overseas, some did not have to go and stayed back in the United States or other countries as a support group, or did important business that was going on there. That would be the binding thread. But we come all different types. Women are one of the lost veterans. A lot of people don't think of us as veterans. I find this very, very true when I'm working with the public and people come to me and say, well, oh, I'll have my jacket on, and people come to me and say, oh, was that your father or your brother or your husband? I say, no, it was me. And they go, you? So my brothers and sisters from Vietnam were along with the Korean War veterans, were one of the lost veterans. Had no honor, had no parades, had no marches, had no voice. And but aside from that, we're teachers, we're truck drivers, we're brothers, mothers, fathers, aunts, and uncles. That's what we are.
And you yourself served in Vietnam?
Yes, I spent 4 months in Vietnam. I was a dental technician. It was a very unusual assignment over there for a woman at the time. They didn't even know what to do with me because I wasn't an officer, so I didn't fit the plan.
Oh, wow. And Joe, what about you? You also served in Vietnam, right?
Yes, I served 11 months, 29 days with the 1st Air Cal as an infantryman on the ground.
And you sustained injuries there that are haunting you still today?
Yes, I'm service-connected right now for post-traumatic stress disorder and a couple of other different things.
A couple of physical ailments that are
Yes,
still
ma'am.
haunting you. And so with this new enrollment, with the health care benefits, this enrollment is very near and dear to your heart.
Yes, it is very important that every veteran get out and enroll. The President of the United States has set a cutoff date for 1st of October. And they're going to stop letting veterans enroll in the health care program. So I'm trying to get the veterans that are not enrolled with the VA to contact their local VAs or clinics, like they have one in Port Jervis here. And they have a booklet that you have to, with documents that you have to fill out. And you can mail it back to the VA. If you can't get up to the clinics or the VA hospital, you can give them a call or send them a letter, and they'll mail you the packet. You fill it out, you mail it back. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I'm already registered, and I have an ID card. Well, this is the ID card that you have. But they're changing the system, and they're coming out with new ID cards with your picture on them, with a strip just like the bank card. So it will have all your information if you have to use another hospital rather than your regular VA that you usually go to.
Joe, if people have questions about this, one of the reasons that we asked Joe to come here is that he really keeps up on the things. I am one of those people, I'm in a union, and I get myriads of papers and things from my union, and very frankly, 80% of it goes into the garbage unread. I don't think that I'm atypical. I'm sure that there are veterans out there who also get notices that go in the garbage. Joe is one of those people who takes the time to read the things. He's very, very well informed. He knows what's going on. Sue is as well. And if you need to know what your status is and where to go for help, these are people that you can contact. We have numbers which we'll give a little later, and there'll be fax numbers, etc., where you can call these people. And Joe has allowed us to give his email, which is just Big Joe, and it's warwicknet.com. And if you want to email him and ask where to go and how this works, it's very, very, very important. I know we as Americans think they can't take anything away from me, and yet they are. They're doing it every day. They're stripping you guys of your benefits, and I think that let's just get in there and enroll before it's too late.
I'd like to mention another note on that. I've spoken to many veterans that I see them at the Orange County Fair because my chapter has a booth there. And a lot of the younger ones and some of the older ones have their own insurance. And they go, well, I don't need this because I have my own insurance. And yes, probably at this time in their life, they don't. But when that insurance somehow ends up not being there, either loss of job, company folding, benefits run out, whatever. If you're not enrolled, then you're in trouble. The enrollments are very easy. If you're in an area that has an active American Legion, VFW post, a lot of times they have the vans coming. My chapter on October 27th, from 7 to 9, the van will be there from Castle Point to take pictures, help you fill out paperwork, do blood pressure checks.
Good.
The only thing you need to do once you are enrolled is twice a year, you need to visit a clinic or a booth that's coming out, and that could entail an eye test, a blood pressure taking. That's all it is to keep your benefits current, but you must do twice a year. You must see somebody, and they are opening satellite clinics. There's one already functioning in Port Jervis. There will be one in Middletown that's opening up.
Good.
So, but if anybody is in the area and isn't capable of getting over to Castle Point for whatever reason, Middletown, American Legion Post 151 on Wayanda Avenue, October 27th, from 7 to 9, we will have the van right there for information and enrollment.
Good girl. I noticed they have different priority groups. This is quite an entailed thing, this enrollment. They're really getting it down to if you don't come in on the 3rd of the month at 3 o'clock between,
Right, yeah.
If you don't fit the criteria, you're going to be in
Well,
trouble.
that's it.
Let me just ask you, who started all this stuff? Where does the problem lie? Does it lie in the Congress? Is it the president? Is it the Veterans Association? Who actually did this? Joe, do you know who?
Actually, it's the funding problems that the Congress is having with all the cutbacks. They're starting to, in everything, even regular jobs like driving a bus, there've been cutbacks, and the government is cutting back and trying to make do with the money they have. There's so many different programs out there. Every organization wants something, and politicians are trying to make everybody happy, and it just seems like the veterans are the ones right now that are getting axed and just pushed aside.
I think part of the problem is that classically this point in time, we have fewer people in Congress and in government positions that are veterans. For years, they were predominantly veterans. They understood, they supported, they backed, they stopped cuts, they stopped anybody from doing what they're doing now. Now we have more non-veteran status. They do not understand the promises that were made. And consequently, when they get pushed into a corner to cut something, we are easier to cut. A lot of our veterans, the biggest lump were World War II that are the most famous. They're in their 70s and 80s. They're aging out. They're disappearing. Korea didn't have that many vets. Those that haven't ever had a voice. Vietnam was the same way. In fact, we are the loudest group now. We are the youngest group that's very, very active, and we are the loudest group, and which is unusual because we were the ones nobody wanted.
Oh, I remember when a friend of mine came back from the service. He was in Vietnam, and it almost brings tears to my eyes when I even think about it. He lost his leg. He lost one eye. He has terrible scars where a bullet went through here and came out here. And this guy was just trashed in Vietnam, and he walks on crutches on his one leg, and he was in New York City. And he was trying to pick up a package off the ground. And somebody said to him, "Oh, you have an accident?" And he said, "No, I was in Vietnam." And he said, "Good for you, son of a bitch." And he kicked the crutch out from under him and left him laying in the street. And that just tears me up because he didn't ask to go over there. It wasn't something that he wanted. He certainly didn't want to leave half of his body over there and to come back and not have a ticker tape parade and then be insulted to that degree. It was it's just terrible.
A lot of us didn't admit for years. I myself did not admit to having been A, in the service at all, and B, being in Vietnam until 6 years ago was the first time I told anybody. My daughter didn't even know.
Oh, wow.
And you just didn't tell it. And we have a phrase that we use amongst ourselves that people are either, we call it coming out of the closet or coming out of the rain. And that's what you will be talking to somebody and all of a sudden they will admit. And it's like a very difficult thing for a lot of us to do. We had to bury it so deep.
It's terrible. It's really terrible. I think too, the permeating attitude, like when Bob Dole was running for office. Previously, when people ran for office and they used their war service record, they used that as a positive thing for running for office. And, people really cared. They said, here's a guy out here that fought for us. And when he ran, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, all right, well, get on with the issues.
That's it.
I think we wanted somebody that was dapper and, or, I don't know, I don't even know what his wife looked like, but, we
Yeah.
wanted somebody fashionable, and we didn't really care whether he fought for our country or not. And
That's
that
right.
was a very sad thing, he'd be up there saying that, and you could just see the crowds going, all right, so get on to something important.
Well, there was a time in this country's history that if you didn't serve, you couldn't hold office. You would not get elected.
Yeah.
It just was the way the people felt that if you were going to lead the country. President is the commander-in-chief. How can he be the commander-in-chief and never put a uniform on when it was his turn? I mean, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. All right, so Joe, let me get back to, I know that there are a lot of young people, and we all went through the stage of we're invincible and everything, and we know everything that there is to know, but some of the wives will be listening. What papers are they going to need when they enroll for this? And I'm gonna back up a step before you answer that. I don't know whether anybody saw on the record yesterday that there was a gentleman who served in Vietnam and is trying to get some benefits for that
PST.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
And because he doesn't have the exact documentation of where he was and what he did at that time, he's not, he's really in the fight of his life trying to get his benefits. And he went over there and he served, as a lot of you did. So get your papers in order. If you have to go through everything in your house, get them in an envelope and get them in order so you know where they are. Joe's going to show you those cards again. What else do they need, Joe?
Well, to register with the VA, you need either a copy of your discharge, your honorable discharge, or a copy of what they call a DD-214, which is a separation paper. And you just get this packet, fill out all the information in here. Even if you have private hospitalization, I would suggest that you register, because at any time your company can go down, and the more people that we have registered at these VA hospitals and VA clinics is going to force Congress to give us the funding. And it's not hard, just a couple of pieces of paper, and you get your ID card, and you go to a clinic twice a year, you get an eye exam, you get your blood pressure checked, and then you don't have to worry about hospitalization. Also, there's burial benefits for you and your spouse. There's survivor benefits. If you, for your wife, if you're service-connected veteran, if you're 100% service-connected, your wife can get a pension. If you pass away, your wife's entitled to a pension. There's a lot of different entitlements that are out there, but you have to
fill out the papers.
fill out the paperwork.
Yep,
You have to spend the time, and you have to try and find out what's available.
Now, if they have trouble filling out the papers, I find when I get a strange form that I do all the normal things, my name, address, and social security number, and things like that. And a lot of times you find just something that really stumps you. If there's a question in there that stumps them, can they could they call you or your posts here and just have somebody answer how to answer that question? Don't let the paperwork just slide because you don't know how to answer a question, because there are people that will help you. I do have a number for the enrollment. It's an 800 number. Get your pencil. It's 269-8749, and that's the Veterans Administration. I'm sure that they would help you to fill out the papers too.
There's also a fellow in Goshen, his name is Tom Agnew. He's in Veterans Affairs there. Give him a call. Most of your larger posts have a service officer. My chapter, we have a service officer. So you can call my number, I can give it to you. She will be more than happy to help you out. There are many avenues that are open to you. Most of the time when a clinic truck comes, the great big vans, they will help you, or the members of whoever is sponsoring it will be glad to sit down and take you through it. But the VA is very good about that. They will take you step by step, right through everything you have to have done. They will probably take your blood pressure that day. We are also doing flu shots for people that want them. And they will go right through the whole thing. They want you enrolled. It's not the VA that's doing this to us. And they really want us to enroll. And if you think of it as an additional HMO, that even though you have insurance, what the VA will do is whatever if you're not qualified for a service-connected injury, you're just a regular vet, came out, you were fine, but you still have rights to the VA, and these things have changed. There has been stuff that has changed over the years that has been to our benefit. You go in, you access and utilize the system, they then bill your insurance company the same as your private doctor would, which brings money into the VA, which is a help, and a lot of people don't realize they can use it this way.
Ooh.
There is a lot of stuff coming out now that this is for wives. They, for years, wouldn't admit there was any damage from Agent Orange. Now they not only are admitting it and paying on claims on that, but now they are realizing that the women that were in close sexual contact with the veterans that came back and their children are having problems because it was bloodborne. And so bodily fluids transmitted between husband and wife, sweethearts, and they are starting to, they had to admit it, now they're starting to do stuff. So you need to get current, you need to get up on it. There's information out there that 5 years ago didn't exist. There are claims that are open that you may have been denied a claim. Do not think that's the end of the world. A lot of them were done on strictly a paperwork glitch. My service officer, her name is Debbie Casella. She is wonderful. She will take you right back through the paperwork again. If you get denied again, don't think it's final. You can fight it. Eventually, if you stick to your guns and you have a legitimate claim, you will get through it. But you need help. It's not easy to do.
For those of you who have just joined us, I'm here with Joe Genacora and Sue Dawson. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did this time.
It's not a hard name, but
No,
it seems to be very evasive for me. And we're talking about some of the veterans' issues that are happening today. So the smoke-related diseases, can you just touch on that, what they're doing with those?
Well, what they have decided to do is they are taking, they've passed a bill to disallow any claims and benefits for anybody that has a smoke-related disease. And they are putting that over into highway funding, one of their favorite little pet projects. Unfortunately, what they forget is for a lot of veterans, when you went into boot camp as young, starry-eyed people, you were encouraged to smoke. Break times were, if you got them, smoke them. I was in the Navy. The smoking lamp is lit. That was break time. When you were in Vietnam, when you came back off, and Joe can tell you that, you got a little kit. In that kit was a free 4-pack you got. The government gave you 4 cigarettes.
That was in
Cigarettes
meal pack.
that were right in your meal pack. You were encouraged to
Really?
smoke. The image was it was cool. You're a warrior, now you're a grown-up, you smoke. So a lot of us got addicted by the service. A lot of us did it because it was cool, it was the way to go. You were now grown up, you were a man. You smoked cigarettes with the guys. And later on down the road, they find out, they come up and admit all the stuff they already knew. But now they're going to say, well, it's your fault that you smoked. It's not always easy for people to stop smoking. I smoked for years. I'm just smoke-free now. In November, it'll be a year, but who knows if I'll make it? I've quit before and gone back. It's a very addictive habit. It's not fair to penalize people. In Joe's case, he has all these other conditions now. Supposing because of smoking down the line, he comes up with a cardiac problem, and they're going to disallow any of that because they're going to turn around to him and in the questionnaire say, do you smoke? Now, if he says yes, they're going to say, well, we're not going to treat you for this. Excuse me, there's something wrong with that. It's not just smoking. It could be, he could have had Agent Orange in there to help irritate it. But they did encourage very strongly all of us at a young age in boot camp and everything else to smoke. And now they're saying, shame on you, you smoked. And that's not fair.
No, that certainly isn't fair. You keep alluding to the Agent Orange. Joe, can you tell us what exactly that was?
Agent Orange was a defoliant that they sprayed out in the jungles so that when the combat troops got there, they had more of a field of vision and could see the enemy more clearly.
What does it do? Just strip the trees of the
Yes,
leaves and
it
stuff?
kills the plant life, and just like DDT and all that.
And how fast does it do that? Is it?
I myself don't know how fast it worked, but I know that right now it's working on a lot of the veterans that have been sprayed with it, but the VA doesn't want to do anything about it, just like the gentleman that served in the Persian Gulf. They just found out now that they were hit with biological weapons. And the government is got a whole new bunch of veterans that have these conditions that they want to make studies about, but in the meantime, these young men and their children, their wives, are suffering because the government's going to make a study for 20 years before they say, oh yes, you were hit with some kind of chemical weapon.
And in the meantime, people are dying.
People are
People are dying.
falling ill and dying.
Falling ill, and their hair's falling out, and their lives are being ruined.
You know, I think it was an Oprah Winfrey show where they had a bunch of families of the people who were exposed to Agent Orange. And I mean, they had baby after baby after baby that were born with limbs missing and all sorts of birth defects. I mean, it was too coincidental.
And
to
a
be
very
a
high
coincidence.
ratio of spontaneous abortions where women couldn't carry, they'd miscarry.
Oh,
A lot of
really?
a lot of the Agent Orange babies never made full term because I mean very high ratio. So that you look at the statistic and go, there's something here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and Agent Orange worked very quickly within 2 days.
Oh, good.
It would defoliate everything, and a lot of times they flew over and sprayed the men in the jungles as well.
Oh, sure.
I mean, they were just accidentally, I worked in a MASH units, and these guys would come in and you could smell it on their clothes.
Oh, my gosh. And what about you, when you worked with them, you were also,
They were also
Sure.
exposed
All-
to it. I
All
had
of
it
your
all over
nurses
my-
and your health, yeah. Yep,
And
everybody who came
They'd
in
have to work
contact
on
with
my
it.
teeth, they'd have to, if I had it all over my clothes and all over my body, they would be exposed to it just as I was. I happened to be one of the persons that was out in the field that would accidentally get sprayed up with it, and then if I had to go into the rear, as we called it, to go back to get medical treatment, I would see this technician. This technician, I wouldn't have the opportunity to take a shower and shave
No.
and everything. I would just go in, have whatever I needed taken care of, and would be back out in the field. So whatever was on my clothing, any kind of chemicals or anything, not only was I exposed to, so it was the technician that dealt with me, the technician, the physician. Another thing I'd like to quickly say is, these women's veterans, you are entitled to as much as men. And I do not understand why these women do not choose to get involved. But you are served as well as we did. If it wasn't for a couple of nurses in Vietnam, I wouldn't have a leg right now. So I urge the women veterans to get out there and participate. You earned it. Use it.
And I think too, with any time you're involved in an organization, you have little petty squabbles. If you guys are fighting over what benefits you're entitled to, and I know that happens because I work in organizations too, don't just back away and say, well, you know, I'm wrong and she's right, or I'm right and she's wrong. Go and do it yourself. Write the letter yourself. Call your congressman yourself. Call these veterans associations yourself. Get involved and do it, because as Sue alluded to earlier, it's the numbers. The number of people that will be enrolled in this thing by October 1st, which is an important date for you, that's what they're going to be going by when they do this funding. If only 5 of you go in there, they're going to say, that's nothing. But if you go in there in masses, if every one of you get your ducks in a row and go in there and fill out the paperwork and say, I'm here, I'm entitled to these benefits, and I want them for me and for my whatever, posterities, you know, they have to associate their money allotments with those numbers. Get out there and do it. Don't trust somebody else. Don't ask anybody else questions. Don't trust somebody to do your paperwork for you. Do it yourself. Get out there and do it. I have a couple of telephone numbers here. One from the VA. It's 838-5234. Now that's the Veterans Association over at Castle Point. And they will answer the questions as, you know, to the best of their abilities and help you through this thing. Do you have a number in Middletown of that, or of the post here that you said these trucks come in?
For this particular post in Port Jervis, it's 856-7633. My Vietnam Veterans chapter, we meet at the American Legion in Middletown, and that phone number is 343-6542. If they have any questions and they want to talk to somebody that's in the chapter and one-on-one, they may call me at my home, which is 858-0998. If I'm not home, I have an answering machine. I will get back to you.
Okay. When I spoke to the veterans, they sent me a scroll. There are a lot of...
Like the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, like the Dead Sea Scrolls. But it has a lot of things in it where people have already asked questions, like why should I enroll? I'm already a veteran. I already have the identification. Do I need to enroll? That is answered for you. How long after the application do I know if I'm enrolled? That was an interesting one. It will take almost a year before you know if you're enrolled.
Well, actually not. I called over and found out, fairly quickly that I'm in the system.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And
well,
they'll ask you the last 4 digits of your Social Security card.
Okay, and it also says things like, in here, it says that you don't have to re-enroll, however, somebody might do that automatically for you, and if any of you have worked in an office, you know that there are efficient people in that office, and you know that there are inefficient people in that office. So behooves you, as one of my teachers used to say, behooves you to go in there and take care of it yourself, to enroll yourself. Let's see, I have... the local areas, you have a Hudson Valley healthcare system, you have the FDR campus in Montrose, New York, you have Castle Point, you have Pomona, and you have Harris, which is up in Sullivan County. So, there's all these different things. Do you guys have anything in particular that you'd like to address? As far as any, thing that you think that the veterans of the area should know about this, or in particular, or?
Well, my thoughts on this, though, is that all of the veterans, regardless of what era and what time you serve, we need to get together, put down jealousies and everything else,
Mhm.
stand as a group, because it's not only just for us. You need to look back over your shoulder. It is now becoming our children and our grandchildren that are following behind us, and these young veterans, if we let these go, they will have nothing. So it's up to us to once again stand and fight. And we need to do it to protect the people that are coming up behind us, because unfortunately, this world has yet to figure out how not to live with war.
That's right, you're absolutely right.
And I'd just like to mention that I know a lot of you veterans have read a lot of different kinds of horror stories in the newspaper as of late. There's a new administration at Castle Point and Montrose. Dr. Molina is the chief of staff, and Mr. Sabo is the hospital director. They are trying very hard to straighten everything out. I've spoken with them on many occasions. We have had a lot of lengthy conversations on what can be improved, how can they improve it. These people want to make these hospitals work. A lot of these veterans think that they want to shut these hospitals down. They do not. If these hospitals get shut down, they do not have jobs. They want to make these hospitals work. If things were wrong in the past, that was the past. Dr. Molina is very dedicated to the veterans. Mr. Sabo is very dedicated, and they're trying to run 2 hospitals on a very limited budget. And they need your support. But the way you can give them your support is by getting out and registering with the Veterans Administration. Give them the numbers they need so they can go to Congress and say, we have this many veterans, we need this much money. And also, join a veterans organization, whether it be a Vietnam Veterans Organization, the DAV, the VFW, Paralyzed Veterans of America, any veterans organization, and they'll be there to help you. Every organization has a service officer to help you fill out documentation, and you put in a claim, you get turned down, you have the right to appeal. You can appeal all the way to Washington if you have to.
That's your right, that's your right, that's the rights that these guys fought for and that you fought for.
That's right.
Just before we go, what are your bracelets? I see you're both wearing these bracelets.
These are POW MIA bracelets. And on each one of them, it gives you the service person's name, their branch of service, the date they went missing. On mine, it gives you the state. Some of them have the state where their home states. And most veterans organizations sell them. The donation goes to keep the search alive, funds the families of the missing. It's our way of saying to everybody, no, we have not forgotten. No matter how many years it goes by, until you're all accounted for, we have not forgotten you.
And that's what yours are too, Joe?
Yes.
Are these people that you
These
served with?
these
or-
are
No, these
brothers
are
and
just-
sisters that are still missing in action.
That they won't, we just did a funeral service for one return.
From
The priest,
Cambodia.
the priest boy came in my chapter, did a ecumenical service for the family there. In fact, the editor of our newsletter was wearing his bracelet. And there's a ceremony that we do to turn over a bracelet to the family of somebody that's been found. It was very nice. Unfortunately, not very well attended, and no news media.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I would have brought the cameras along. I just really would like to thank you guys for coming out and for doing this show. I hope that we as Access 8 have done you justice. As veterans, I'd like to thank you for my freedom. It really touches my heart when I sit and I think of the fact that I have never been touched by this. I mean, my whole family was in service, but none of them were ever wounded. My father was a chauffeur for a big general, and he never had to do
Good
anything.
duty.
Yeah, it really was. And I had a brother who played football for the Army, so he was gold, and he stayed home from Vietnam because he could kick a football.
Mm-hmm.
And another brother who could type, and they needed him in the offices to do that. So our family was never actually touched by the physical aspects of war, and I really respect the fact that you guys went over there and did that, and I really earnestly and sincerely do thank you for doing that.
There's one more important thing I have to bring up. Even if you did not serve in combat, even if you did not go overseas, if you served in the military, you are a veteran.
You are entitled.
You have benefits. You are entitled to benefits. If you have gotten hurt, even if you broke your leg when you were in the service, or you fell and hurt your back, you are still entitled to benefits just as well as a combat veteran like myself is. You don't have to have been overseas. All you have to be is an honorable discharge veteran, and you can register for. And you never know when you're going to need them.
Right.
You know, you could have an automobile accident. Mary was asking me before some of the things that are available. There's also such thing as what they call a non-service connected disability. If you become totally disabled, and it has nothing to do with your service time, you can still collect from the VA. You can collect it what they call a non-service connected disability, non-service pension, which will give you full medical benefits. So get out there and
That's it.
Find out what you're doing.
find out what.
Get out
you
there,
have to do.
register, and get active.
Okay, I just want to give the number from Access 8 also. It's 856-5666. And if you didn't take any of the other numbers and you want to call, there's an answering machine that's on all the time. And if you have questions and stuff and you need numbers, I would very definitely get those numbers to you. But I would really urge you to do your homework, to get out there, to get your forms, to fill them out. They're available at one of many places, including the Pike Street Clinic and Castle Point, which are the most local to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right now.
yeah,
And you
and through the veterans, the local veterans, I'm sure that they would help you. But this is by the time this goes on the air, you're going to have about two to 3 weeks to do this. So don't linger. Just get your ducks in a row and get out there and do your homework and do it.
And once you're in the system, even if you travel, I mean, like everybody's saying, Castle Point, Montrose, everything, I have had to use my card. I went on vacation in Florida and gotten hurt. You can use your veterans benefits in any state. They're good. You don't have to just use them in your home area, or you can use them when you travel. Your entitlements go with you. Just like private insurance. If you go to Arizona and you get sick or something, you can go to a VA. You look up in the phone book and go there, and they'll give you the same services that they would at your home station.
That's the beauty of the new system and the new cards, is that they're linking computer to computer nationwide. So when your card goes in, your numbers and your strip goes in, your medical record comes up. It's not one of these that you walked in before with the old card, you handed them the old card, but they didn't have a history on you. They had no record, and now it was a case of either write or call and hit or miss and maybe get it, maybe not get it, and you may have been in a situation where you need something emergency done, and there wasn't time. This way, the card goes in, and up on the computer comes your entire medical history,
Wow.
bing. So that's one of the beauties of it, and you can access it anywhere in the world that has a VA.
Very good. Okay, well, thanks an awful lot for watching tonight, and we hope that this information will help you. If you have relatives that are veterans, or if you yourself are veterans, just make sure that you take care of this, and if you know other people, make sure that they're aware of this. We'll see you next week. VFW post number 61. It's on. Oh, it's 161?
Yes.
I guess one of the ones fell off the side of the wall. But it's post 161. It's on Owen Street in Port Jervis, and this is one of the places that you can come, and you can get help with your paperwork, or you can register, get, information about enrolling by October 1st. Very important. We're going to have, Joe Genacor is going to show us a little doodad that he got from the VA to help him through some of the times that he's a little more crippled up than other times. They've given him this absolutely exquisite setup on the top of his car with a wheelchair. Take it away, Joe! This is pretty unbelievable, isn't it? It's all one compact unit on the top of his car. There's a wheelchair in there that's going to just, look at it, it's just coming up as if by magic. And if you're a veteran out there and you need something like this and you're entitled to it, fill out your papers and get it. Wow. Isn't this amazing? Look at this. This is why you can't park in the handicapped parking space. Oh, look at that. And it misses the side of his car by an inch, so it doesn't even put any scratches on. Isn't that beautiful? That's great, Joe.
It really is something.
Thanks a lot for showing us that. That's really nice. And this was provided for you by the veterans, right? Yes, it was. Provided for him by the veterans. As you can see, we're here at Veterans Park down in downtown Port Jervis, and they have statues and different things that are dedicated to each of the wars, starting with the Civil War and right on up through. There are some benches and things that have been donated by different naval posts and things. We're going to be taking a picture of the MIA POW flag in a minute. Those people that have been sort of forgotten over there, we ask you not to forget them, to be saying your prayers for them. This is a monument that is dedicated to the disabled veterans of America. This is Port Jervis Memorial, chapter number 209, to the men and women from all of the wars, the disabled vets from all of the wars. Hanging below our flag is the POW MIA flag. It says on the bottom, "You are not forgotten." I hope that's true. It's dedicated to the people from this vicinity who were killed in World War II. Probably some of your relatives are mentioned here. Memorial to the shipmates of the U.S. Naval Services who sacrificed that this nation might live. It says it's from the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Seabees, and the Marines. I believe it's dedicated from the Tri-States Naval Post 7241 VFW, dedicated in 1955. This appears to be one that's dedicated to certain people, Wilmore Pavlik and Howard Tarquette. Members, oh, I bet they were firemen who gave their lives during World War II. Isn't Honkamak, isn't that a fire company? Hose and Ladder, yeah, they're firemen. This is the back of the we saw before. It was dedicated to the World War II veterans.
Can you read that, Mayor?
It says, this monument is in memory of all those gallant men and women from the Tri-States area who served in the armed forces of the United States in World War I, 1917 to 18. Their valiant, dedicated devotion to our country will never be forgotten by a grateful nation. This monument was erected by the patriotic generosity of Diane Farnham and was dedicated July 4th, 1886. To the memory of the men of Deer Park, who by their services and lives in the Civil War aided in preserving the Union and securing equality of rights for all. It's a beautiful statue. If you haven't been down here, it's very common when you live in an area that you don't even know these things exist. It might be worth just walking through and seeing what you actually have in the park. Quite a nice park. We're getting the back side of the statue because the sun is so strong today, we didn't think that the front side would take. It says, our treasured memories of the heroic and generous dead are fadeless as the chiseled inscription on this enduring shaft. If you've never been down here, it might be worth the trip to just come down. They've got some little tables over here with checkerboards right on. Might be nice to bring your kids down and tell them what a veteran is about.
Is it?
The monument here is for the Vietnam veterans. Not veterans, the people who were killed in the war. It's a memorial to the people who were killed in the war. And if you look at the names on them, some are very, very familiar names. Probably relatives and friends of your relatives.
Do you want to read them?
Peter Bonwagger, Thomas Case, Peter Garms, Pierce Malmquist, John Reed, John Ripple, Clifford Stone, and Paul Tighe. And then below it there's a Jerry B. Evans. And we have prisoners of war, and missing in action are Richard Ali and Jack Pierce. Now, here on the other corner is a monument dedicated to the men who were killed in the Korean War. William Curran, Dale Drinko, George Hammond, Leon Justice, William Mitchell, Robert Ryle, Robert Skinner, and Herbert Wardell. We have a prisoner of war missing in action, Milton W. Bailey. The park is located on Sussex and Broome Street. It's opposite the First Presbyterian Church. It's a beautiful little park. It's kind of a sad subject that we've addressed today, but we just hope that it's been something that is worthwhile, something that can help somebody along the way. This is the last stop on our tape. It's the naval ship, VFW. And what street are we on? What street is this? Do you know, Mary?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's here in Port Jervis. Dedicated to the veterans of foreign wars, obviously from the Navy. There's another monument here. All the charter members of the post here. These things are all available to you if you're veterans. Come down and get involved in these things because, like we said before, it's the show of strength and the numbers that is what they're looking at. If they think nobody cares and nobody's watching, then they can kind of do anything that they want with your money. And it's your money. Anyway, get up.